Yeah, sweet. We're in. We're live. We're live. We got a big one coming. Ross, you ready, man?
I'm ready.
It's going to be big, I think. I'm excited. I'm excited to do this.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'll give you a proper introduction because I'm not good with introductions, obviously, this morning. Poor Ross came in. He's wandering around. Gabby's running around. We were talking for like 20 minutes and I didn't even introduce anybody.
It happens.
God, suck.
It's okay.
Anyway,
We're here now.
Detective Ross Huson, is that right?
That is correct.
For the Internet Crimes Against Children investigator for Trempealeau County, and he focuses on online exploitations of minors, including sextortion and community preservation. So, presentations, sorry. Wow. Can't read my writing, but it's not my writing. But yeah, and so you work for the Trempealeau County, and you've been doing some stuff. So give me some history on you.
Sure, no worries. Started law enforcement back in 2006. Worked my entire career here in Trempealeau County. Started with the City of Independence. Patrolman, worked for about a year there. After that, I was hired with the City of Osseo. Same thing as a patrolman. Worked there about 5 years, and then had the opportunity to join the sheriff's office. So went down to the sheriff's office. And since being there, I've kind of done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Many years of night shift, long nights, cold nights. I feel for those guys and gals that are out doing that still. They have a tough job. But many years of nights there. Then went to day shift patrol, and was special assigned into civil process and electronic monitoring of inmates. So inmates on the ankle bracelet. So that was nice. It turned into kind of a Monday through Friday position, banker hours, not out dealing with all the crazies.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But it also gave a lot of different opportunities. And so right around that same time, the sheriff's office opened up a position for a drug endangered children investigator. And so obviously all children's crimes and narcotics and the effects that it has on kids and families. So I was fortunate to be around more during the day, when those investigations took place. And, I was young, lock 'em up, throw away the key kind of guy. The world is bad and we're out doing our thing. But as I was able to kind of tag along a lot on those drug endangered children investigations, you kind of got a different view of things.
Yeah.
And especially the effects on the children. And so, within a short time frame then too, I had my first child, which for anyone that knows, obviously is going to change you.
That's a game changer.
It is. And you definitely start seeing the world differently and realizing how innocent children are and the unknowns. So it changed me. And so again, as I was tagging along on the children investigations, it just opened my eyes to a whole different realm. Yeah. And really caught my interest in the investigation side of things. So it kind of all this whole thing here really just happened. Like I'm sure we've all seen, Chris Hansen, Dateline, NBC, To Catch a Predator type stuff. And we were literally sitting around like good cops do, drinking coffee and eating donuts one day. and we said, we should do this. We should do one of those things. We're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. So that was our bright idea. And then we kind of looked into it and realized, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of training and a lot of rules and a lot of, procedures that actually legally have to be followed to do that. It's like everything. It's not all what you see on TV. It's just that simple. Yeah. But it was talked about. And, we kind of looked at Trempealeau County as an area where we're located. I mean, even in between Eau Claire and La Crosse, Winona, and then to broaden out, Minneapolis and Chicago. I mean, they're not far away. And you realize how many people are passing through our area. So we started kind of looking even up in the Osseo area, and at that time, you had some, hotels and truck stops and interstate, adult store right there, and you kind of start putting the pieces together, and I have a feeling we could probably be pretty successful
all
in
the
this.
stuff.
Yeah,
we have all the stuff. Yeah.
So we threw it out there as just an idea, like, hey, we should do this, and we went to the sheriff and we said, here's kind of what we're thinking, and he kind of rolled his eyes at the time and goes, oh boy, what are you guys going to come up with now? But he was okay with it. He's like, yeah, whatever. Look into the training and let me know. Yeah. Well, the cool thing about internet crimes and internet crimes against children is that there's so much government funding that has been thrown towards this, and so all of these trainings were free, which is awesome.
Good.
And like every business and entity these days, budgets are tight, and
of course
there's just not a lot of money, and obviously, especially on the government side, it's taxpayer dollars, and so we found out the training was free, kind of put in for it, and it just took off from there. So I was very fortunate to kind of get that blessing from the sheriff to just go and start doing this. And he kind of signed off on the trainings, and I was very fortunate to get the opportunity and get these trainings under my belt, and kind of came back with both feet hitting the ground, and truly I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right.
None. Like, obviously part of the reason we're here today is to try to get this word out, and I didn't. I really thought it was my goal was, this Chris Hansen, Dateline, NBC, Catch a Predator stuff, and that is just a small portion of it. And so I got into this to try to catch those types of people, and now it's more so just focused on the kids and the sextortion and everything else that's come along. So it's blown up. We're trying hard, and it's never ending. So glad to be here. Hopefully get the word out. Bring some education to adults, to students, to the community, to your listeners, and start getting our eyes open, because it's going to take every one of us.
Oh, for sure. I'll probably get in trouble or something. I don't know, somehow. But I had seen or I had listened to a Sean Ryan podcast.
Yep.
Excuse me, with Ryan Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, and he had talked about some of the things that we're going to talk about today, and I was just mind blown. I was like, are you kidding me? And so that's why I reached out to the sheriff, Erica, and just because I'm like, if that's happening, I mean, it's got to happen everywhere. Like, we're not immune to it, I'm guessing. So I reached out to Erica, the sheriff, and then she says, hey, I got a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, send me whatever, I got to get in contact. And then you called me, like, I don't know, like not very long after.
Right.
And then we started talking, and again, mind blown still, just on some of the conversations that we had and the meeting that we had last week, and just kind of going through. It is mind blowing. And as a parent, I maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I mean, you've heard of those things before. Now I'm super aware. Like, I'm super aware, and I'm super aware with my children, their friends, and I feel bad because I kind of had a little dad speech to my son's crew, a little bit here and there, and but I just it's a big deal, and I think the more people know, and that's why I hope you can bring it to, like, right, this is where it's at, and this is prevalent. It's in our area. It's in your freaking backyard, and watch out.
It is.
And so, I mean, I guess let's go into the definitions.
Sure.
The sextortion stuff. Because there's a lot of parts to this.
Yep.
I mean, I just want to hit, a couple of them, because maybe I'll have to have you come back and get caught up on a couple other things too, because there's more, But let's get caught up. Let's get on the definitions of that and hammer that out. So, sextortion.
Sextortion.
Is that how I say it? Sextortion.
That is how you say it. Yeah. And it is blown up, and the kind of the comments you just made about how prevalent this is, and it's in our backyard. You're exactly right. I do a lot of presentations to students, to staff, to community businesses, just anyone that's willing to listen. And every time it's just eye-opening of how much is out there. One of the lines I use, the most, again, we're Trempealeau County, Wisconsin. It is a great area. It's not this massive crime rate that you see on the news, and we're so fortunate of that. I'm not working homicides every day. I'm not working carjackings every day. But we are working internet crimes every day. And one of the lines that I use, like I said, is, the internet is the same size in Chicago and New York as it is in Whitehall and Osseo and Blair and Galesville and Strum and all of our surrounding towns. I mean, it is the same. And it's pretty crazy to kind of think about that is, that crime is the exact same thing, no matter the size of town you live in, or there's no age discrimination, there's no gender. It's the same for everyone. And it's so, like, you sit there and you think about that, and like, or you don't think about that, like, you just, like, that's not it. But all of a sudden, then when you really put some, like, a thought to it, you're going, like, that totally. When you said it to me the other day when we had our meeting, you kind of went through it, and I was like, that makes sense. And I honestly, and don't judge, but I honestly, I didn't think of it that way. It's so dumb not to. Right. And most people don't. Most parents don't. I mean, again,
it's crazy.
We're so accustomed to living a pretty good life in our area and not really being worried about that type of crime. Yeah. And it's just something I think that has been overlooked and not thought about. So it's nice to, start getting this word out. And the sextortion is just blown up. And really what sextortion is we all know what being extorted is. It's the same thing. It's just throwing a different few letters in. But how sextortion is starting is pretty much we have these younger individuals that are on their social media, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, are the big three that are being used. And it's just quickly getting kind of that random friend request. And, as the friend request is accepted, and very quickly it turns into a basic chat. And may start off, hi, how are you, and how old are you, but that quickly shifts. And these individuals, suspects, I guess we could call them, they're very quickly going to start asking for photos and inappropriate photos. Yeah. So, it's hard for parents, for adults, for people a little bit older to grasp that concept, of sending nude images online. But to the younger generation, it's kind of common, and it really is. I've interviewed hundreds of kids, and when this is talked about, sending nudes, they kind of look at me, like, it's hard for us to think about it.
Yeah, and it's crazy that they take, they find safety on that,
right?
To send that, like they're not going to walk around naked,
right?
So, but they'll send to whoever, just random,
right? So I kind of tell the parents too. I go, think back, when you were a little bit younger and you were interested, man, we were still passing notes.
Oh yeah.
Do you like me? Check yes or no.
Yeah.
And now it's not. And now it really is. It's wild to think about, but I mean, dating now is, boy likes girl, he sends her a nude photo. Yeah. She opens it up, she's interested in what she sees, and she sends a nude photo back. And if they both mutually agree that they like what they see, they may continue the conversation. But if they don't, they just move on to the next.
It's wild.
But again, what what the younger generation isn't thinking about is what happens to those photos, and that's where they're not. And so for these random people, when the sextortion starts to ask for photos like that, isn't really a big deal. These kids don't think twice about it, and they're willing to send. And these suspects will say they will portray themselves of a very young, attractive female, and they may send a photo first to a younger boy, and so all of a sudden this boy opens it up and sees this photo of an attractive Instagram looking model, and right away he's excited. It's
go time.
Yep, and no problem, sends a picture back, and once that happens, the hook is set, and all of a sudden it turns into, I got you. Now here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna send me $500. You have 2 minutes, and if you don't, I'm gonna share this photo with your mom and your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your entire friends list, your principal, your teachers, and I'm going to destroy you. And these kids, again, all of a sudden it just hits them, and they don't know what to do,
right?
And they freak out, and they try to beg and plead, and these people are ruthless, and very common. They'll even start like a countdown, 20, 19, 18. No, hold on. I'll try to find some money. Or I don't have that much. Well, how much do you have? I've got $100. And they convince them to send it, or and it's always through gift cards or through Apple Pay, or or I've had students that freak out and they walk down to mom's purse or dad's wallet that's down on the kitchen counter and steal their credit card and ship off $1,000 on some app, and that money's gone, and it just never ends. And that is daily, thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times a day, nationwide, the sextortion, and it's is that up.
One of the main ways, like schemes or whatever, like games that they play? Is that one of the main ones that they do, or are there like some other ones that you can share with us that that might be something for a parent,
sure,
can look for?
Yeah. Right now, I would say, the sextortion is the main one. And again, it's just so common. Where, people aren't thinking is just how much information we're putting out online.
Yeah.
And even as a parent, you think about it. Right now, for the adults, we think of Facebook, But to the younger generation, Facebook is for old people. You go tell anybody 13
Boomers.
to 25 that, do you have Facebook? They look at you like, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
So the kids aren't really using it. But think as an adult how much you put on Facebook. Every picture of your kids. Yeah. Everything that you do. You go out to dinner, and most people these days, we always, food eats first. They have to take a picture of their meal,
right,
and get it online and post what they're eating. It's just so much information you put out there. But you also don't think as a parent about your privacy settings. Who can see all this information? You didn't set your privacy settings. Here you put your kids, your grandkids, or little Johnny, little Susie took first place in the basketball tournament last weekend, and you took that team photo and you tagged every kid or every kid's parents,
right,
and you put it out there to the world, right? Well, go back to these, and I call them creeps. Go back to these creeps that are sextorting your kid, and think about that. When they say, I'm going to send this to everybody, and your kids go, well, they don't really know who I am. Well, they've done a little homework too, and it takes all of a minute and a half. They may ask for a selfie. Right now I can look at your sweatshirt. You've got your logo, you've got Northwoods Brew Pub on there. Some creep on the other side of the world in one Google search can type in Northwoods Brew Pub, see that that's right here in Osseo, Wisconsin. Now he has your profile. He's done one Google search. He realized, Osseo. Now he searches the Osseo Fairchild website, gets a list of every teacher, every principal, half the students, all these people you tagged. And when he says, I'm going to send this to everybody, and he actually sends that friend list, he's
got the names, she's got everything.
Exactly. And all that was shared because a parent decided, I have to show the world everything on my social media. And I don't think parents realize how much that can trickle down even to their kids. So it's not even spreading the word to kids about privacy settings. It starts with adults too. And it just blows up.
No, I mean, that part of it is scary. I know, I started looking at some of my stuff too, just because I was like, after we talked, the other day about, the privacy settings and all the stuff, and I'm just going through and going, man, there's a lot of stuff here. Like, for the, like, I use mine for business too, so it's a little different, but it's still, there's a lot of information on there. There's a lot of information that it is open to whomever. Right. These sick creep I'll keep it clean, but these guys, they're bad, and so as a parent, I know we'll touch on it probably a couple of times, and we had talked about like prevention, stuff like that, kind of like what you can do. Yeah, I think that's part of it, and we'll touch on it later too. But I know that's something that you guys are helpful with and can kind of move forward with that stuff. I think there's so many different ways of cleaning that up, I think, and trying to prevent that, the maintenance part of your phones and stuff. I think it's wild, and I don't think anybody really thinks of it.
They don't. And again, we're foolish to believe that we're not trying to stop technology. Technology is a great thing, and it's become our right hand. No one leaves their house without their phone, and everything we're doing now is connected to our phone. Banking, social media, email, just everything, and that's totally understandable. But we have to get to this education and really start thinking about, again, once you press send, there's no unsending, and you click that, and the realization that once I do hit post or send or tag, whatever, it's open to the world. And so just really getting this word out. If I quickly want to touch back on the sextortion, the most common age to be sextorted or exploited online is 13 years old. And that's shocking when I speak to most parents. This isn't something that's happening to 25-year-old college kids. These creeps are setting the hook at 13. And you think about the hormones raging at 13 years old in boys and girls. But these kids they're not thinking. They're not thinking with the right brain. And so again, we're talking 5th and 6th grade students. And again,
and they don't, it kind of ranges in ages all the way up too. I know, but that 13, 14, that 13, that's wild.
It is.
And they're really changing at that age, there's a lot of things, but what baffles me is that they find safety in that. Mm-hmm. And so we talk about the safety. You had a good analogy, kind of what we were talking about, the whole gun safety stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Explain that, because that's wild, man. When you sit there and think about that, I left after our conversation with that, and I left and I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense.
Sure. Well, just think about our kids. Even going to kindergarten. Right now, every school is issuing the kid an iPad, a Chromebook. We're putting technology in their hands at 5 years old, right? So they're raised with technology. This is a part of their everyday. Your report cards come via email. Your kids' assignments are online. Bring your Chromebook home, right? But the line I use is, you think about that. You have a 10-year-old, 11, 12, whatever. We have to have hunter safety to hunt. We have to go get educated. We have to take driver's ed, driving safety, to get a license to drive. We teach our kids to fish and snowmobile safety, tractor safety, every other safety that we have to have to do something. But at the end of the day, we'll hand a 9-year-old a brand new iPhone and hand it to them. Just go, there you are. Where was the safety? Where was the education? Where was the talk? And we don't even think about it. And it's just handing them the power of the internet. And that is the line I use in all my presentations is, we're handing every 9-year-old an iPhone. What do you think is going to happen?
Right.
And it's, when you kind of see that light bulb go off and you realize every parent that I'm talking to goes, yeah, I did that. And I never had the talk, So we've had the birds and bees talk, and it was awkward, and you have that with your kids. But again, here's the whole internet. No safety features, no conversation. And we just have to do better. And that's really why we're here today and why we're doing this, community outreach is that it's just trying to open the eyes of these adults to realize how prevalent it is. And it's wild. It's wild to me. Let me ask you this, and this might be, maybe an obvious question or maybe not. I don't know. If you're a parent and you give them the phone and you're like, here you go, Johnny, here's your phone. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that we could use as parents other than, talking about different stuff? Are there any tools or anything? Is it just like good communication with your kids and kind of like, talk to them about the sextortion stuff? But are there any other tools that a parent could use to address that to children? Like, is there a way that we could do that? Yeah.
I don't want to make it confrontational because they get all, whatever. But, something like, hey, here's this or whatever, and
sure.
And you could utilize that.
Yep. Well, and you're right. I feel it's just become so common these days now where parents are so focused on almost being more of a friend than a parent. And I don't want to upset my kids.
Right.
And that's great. I will never tell somebody how to parent because I'm guilty of it myself. You know what I mean? No one wants to be like that. And it's not, you hear of all these watchdog apps that you can put on your phone, Life 360 and the Bark app and all these different apps that we can monitor. And kids are smart too. They're going to figure out ways around that. I mean, we all try to fool our parents,
Yep.
So you can do that. Sure, we can try to walk through settings on the phone, but, if I asked you made a comment earlier that you wanted to learn to play guitar. Where would you go to learn to play guitar? Where do we go when we don't know how to do something these days? I tell parents, go to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, man, they can teach me how to fly a 747 on YouTube. There's nothing you can't figure out how to do on YouTube. And it's something so simple. But again, a lot of people don't even think about that.
That's what I'm saying. When you said that to me, I was like...
Right. Take your device. Yeah. Doesn't matter what. Yeah, you have an iPhone, you have an Android, you have an iPad, you have a Fire tablet, whatever it is, and simply go to YouTube. How to set parental settings on this. How to set parental settings on Instagram. How to set name anything out there. Yeah. And it will literally step by step.
You'll get it.
You will. And that bare minimum right there is better than nothing. And, technology's changing every day. I get phone calls and emails weekly. Hey, I'm having a hard time doing this. Can you help me out? Absolutely.
I was going to ask that. Yeah. Do you get those calls?
Yeah, all the time.
I'm assuming you're pretty good at figuring some of that stuff out pretty good. I mean, not that we want everybody to call Ross, but, And
I am not an expert.
Yeah.
Let's not fool me here. I'm just a guy that found a little niche that tries. But I would tell them the same thing.
Yeah.
Technology changes so fast. By the time I think I figured it out, there's something new out there. And that's the first thing I'll do. We're all the same. You call me with a question. If I don't know it, I'm just Googling, and then I'm YouTubing, and then I'm calling you back, sounding like I'm really smart.
Yeah.
But, if I don't know the answer, there's so many people around me that do. There are hundreds of detectives and investigators like myself, in the state, let alone the country, that are doing the same thing. So, reach out to your local law enforcement. Reach out to anybody. Ask the question. If they don't know, there's somebody similar to me that has a little bit of knowledge. They'll definitely help you get the answer. But again, just start at YouTube and it'll probably help fix a lot of things.
It probably will. I mean, it will. Like,
Yep.
there's a ton of stuff out there, ton of knowledge, and I think, you know, you just didn't even think of it.
No.
You know?
No.
Like, I mean, I don't know a lot of stuff, so I'm YouTubing everything.
Right.
How do you put brakes on?
It's great.
Stupid.
It's wonderful.
Find it right out, you know?
It is. There's nothing you can't learn.
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I guess I would say to anybody listening, like, you know, definitely do the research on it.
Right.
And look at the Googles, and, you know, you could pull up a lot of stuff. I actually did it. I kind of looked at a bunch of different avenues, and there's a bunch, you know, an AI comes out, and they got they'll give you a list long of like things to kind of just, you know, whatever. And it's interesting because I guess unless it's really in your face and you just don't know, you don't really you don't think of it as a parent, I think. And it's not but it's good.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just not something we think is happening. And every parent, same thing. I have coworkers too. I've had this conversation with them, and it's just when they hear about this, and well, my son or my daughter would never do that. They're a good kid, and I'm not doubting that they're a good kid. Every kid that I'm dealing with is a good kid. These people, especially with the sextortion, that's who they're targeting. It's the captain of the football team, the quarterback, the valedictorian, the people that almost feel they're successful, you know, in the FFA, involved. That's their main targets, because they're the ones that, you know, they have everything to lose. And so, unfortunately, again, those good kids are the main targets. And so when I'm talking to even my coworkers, like, you know, do you check his phone? No, I don't. He's a good kid. He would know never to do that. Well, next thing you know, it's happened. Unfortunately, my coworker's kid was a victim. You know, now thankfully they came forward and did not send money, and there were so many things that we could do to help remove those photos, and so again, we just get this word out. Start with a conversation. Yeah. As a parent, as an adult, as a caregiver, a grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, I promise you, if you have anyone that you care about in that age range, it has happened to them. Yeah. You know, and that's basic statistics I'm not going to bore you with, but, you know, I think the last time I checked, you know, it's over 75% of individuals online at that age have been contacted, direct messaged, approached online from a stranger. And so it's so common, you know.
Let me ask you this. So I'm sitting at home and my son says, "Dad, look at this." What are some proper steps as a parent to take some action against this?
Sure. Yep. Well, start first with obviously accepting it. You know what I mean? You know, this has been our big push. Again, when we were younger and, you know, we did something we shouldn't have done, you were afraid that there was going to be punishment, right? You've heard me already kind of talk about how popular sending these photos are, and I know that that's very hard for us to understand. But put yourself in this situation at 1 a.m, your son or daughter knocks on the door and, you know, "Dad, I made a mistake." "What's up?" I sent a nude photo to some random person on the internet, and now he's telling me I need to send him money. You know, what's the first reaction? A normal parent's gonna lose their mind, right? And again, not trying to tell somebody how to parent, but what we're trying to get at here is that kind of shift to understanding that it happened, and then going, "It's okay. Now I want to help you." You know, having that conversation, finding a trusted adult. Maybe it's not mom or dad, but maybe it's teacher, principal, coach, aunt, uncle, somebody. Maybe it is a law enforcement officer, anybody. Yeah. Maybe it's your boss, just anybody. But really having a trusted adult that you can go to and say, I made a mistake, and say, help. First, I would say, you know, don't delete don't delete the messages. You can block the account to prevent any more communication, but so many people get so nervous and they start deleting, and it's kind of hard for us to track. But block the account, don't delete the messages, find that trusted adult, come forward and reach out to us, to law enforcement, and explain that it happened. There are tools that we have. When you kind of work in the area that I do, we do have databases that are connected nationwide, from the smallest police department in the country, state, local, federal, FBI, military, everything is connected in one database, and we can put in usernames and see is this type of behavior happened anywhere else to anyone else, and really try to start a path to find out who these people are. And that's kind of where it starts. But I tell parents, first, just relax. It's okay. We can help. There are things to try to get these images removed from the internet. And that's something that anyone can do, from home. If there's a website, it's called Take It Down. Just type in, go to Google, go to Take It Down. And takes a minute. It literally asks a few basic questions. Are you under the age of 18? Yes. Is the image, contain nudity? Yes. And it will say then, enter the image here. Now, sometimes people get a little concerned about, oh my gosh, I'm throwing this nude image into this random website. Right. It's not. If you think about a picture, all a photo is millions and millions of little colored dots, right? And every photo that we take is, in the back end assigned kind of its own little serial number, right? That's what that photo is doing. It's not actually looking at the image. It's just recording the dots, right? And you put that into the website and hit enter, and as fast as that, it searches the internet for that serial number, for those dots. And if it finds that image has been posted on a website or something, it will literally grab it and take it down and remove it. And then it enters that serial number into a database that law enforcement has. And so we can ensure that hopefully that photo is never shared again. Or if it is, then there's at least some alert and notice sent out, because at the end of the day, that person is a victim. And it's a lot emotionally for them. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
And so again, that's something that anybody can do. Your child could do it themselves. A parent could do it. Anyone. It's just a website.
Take it down.
Take it down. It has been the most helpful tool that we have had. And again, there's so many people that aren't coming forward. But we try to get that out.
So there's solutions, and I think that will help, in the end of if something comes, even if somebody hears this, the kids, or whatever, or as a parent, you tell them, like, here's the deal. This is not the end. Like, so the communication with them, and just have that communication, that talk with them, and say, hey, here's the deal. This is not the end of the world if something happens. I don't want you to do it, obviously, but things happen. This is not the end of the world. There are ways of getting around this. There's ways of making it better or solving.
Right.
I guess I don't, and making it, because let's be real. Some of that, it doesn't end well with those kids, and maybe touch on that a little bit,
Yeah. Well, again, it's become this big push, and how quickly it happened. Unfortunately, again, they're targeting these kids that feel that they have everything to lose, and they're very good. They are professional. They're professionals. Mm-hmm. This isn't the local person doing this. Most of these accounts and most of these suspects, creeps, they're overseas. They're in the Horn of Africa. They're in Asia. All they're doing is creating thousands of accounts. Think about deep sea fishing, right? If you had 10,000 lines out in the water, how many fish are you going to catch? A lot, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what these creeps are doing. They literally create thousands of accounts, reach out to thousands of kids. And if all they do is get a couple to bite and send that money, they're making a lot of profit in a little amount of time. But when they go after these kids, and once they get that hook sent, like I said, I mean, they're ruthless. Yeah. And they make them feel like there is no out. And unfortunately for the youth, lately, there's a large number of kids that have, died by suicide because of this. And I mean, even locally here in Wisconsin, and it's not that is the last thing, right. But again, I've been fortunate enough to attend some trainings and hear parents of these kids that died by suicide, and it's the same story, and it was they were good kids, and they lived wonderful lives, and they were heavily involved, and like I said, valedictorians and homecoming king, and as a parent, to think that that's the way they found their child, all because of sextortion, right? And so there are outs, we've tried so hard, speaking to kids, and again, explaining what sextortion is, and this is exactly what it's going to look like, and this is exactly how it's going to happen. These conversations aren't something that are happening over months or weeks. Most of the unfortunate, suicides, those conversations were between 2 and 6 hours from the time they accepted the friend request to, unfortunately, the time they felt that there was no other option. It's quick. I mean, they attack. They do. Wow. And so, yes, please have the conversation. As a parent, sit your kids down. Again, we're not going to stop, Sean. We're not. This is what the kids are going to do. Right. And that's okay. But have the talk. I understand. But please, if it happens, come to me. We can help. We know people. There are resources. Right. Again, another thing, you can Google or YouTube. What if this happens? Yeah. You're going to get a long list of do this, reach out here. And at the end of the day, call the sheriff's office, call your local police department. This happened. There is a guy or a girl that can help. Well, and I'll say this, it's good to Google all those things. It's good to do that. But like myself, like if I feel like I'd want to talk to somebody on the police, sheriff's department. Like I feel like, there's a lot of Google stuff in there and stuff, but here's the other thing too. Like you go online and shit, you don't know what you're going to get into half the time. Mm-hmm. So, is there, do you guys have like on the sheriff's, the web page, on that, like anything, like any links on that you can go to, like as a parent, like I would almost feel a little more safe if I said, hey, I'm going to go to Trempealeau County. Sure. And maybe that's naive too to say, because who knows, somebody could mock that up too or something. I don't know, but to go to like, hey, I'm going to go to Trempealeau County or Eau Claire County where I'm at, and be like, hey, here's a kind of a thing to do with that. Yep. I would say most agencies do have something. Yep, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. And if they don't, too, again, pick up the phone and call and just ask for the internet guy. Mm-hmm. Ask for the internet girl. Well, I mean, really, that's like, if I'm calling somebody like, and I'm talking on the phone with them, and I feel like maybe that would be a little more comfortable with some people, maybe. Yep. Because we're just talking about a crime on the internet. Yep. And now I'm going to try to find that answer or solution on the internet again. Like, sure. You know what I mean? So like, I would feel better. Like, hey, I'd be like, hey, I'm calling Trempealeau County. Talk to Ross. I get on the phone with Ross. I'm like, and you're like, hey, this is what you have to do. And I go to that after I've been appointed from you or saying, so I just, for like me, not everybody's like that, but I'm just saying, like, for a resource for you guys, I would think that would be super important. I think, there's people out there that are. There are. Well, like I said, too, we talked about kind of being part of this big network. I mean, we are part of the, Wisconsin Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, right? That is a statewide thing. Yep. We think about this entire problem. People may have heard of like NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, yep. Right? That's where all of this starts. They're out east, they're the clearinghouse. They're the hub. Everything we're doing on the internet is tracked. If you think about it, everything. So you start searching for things you shouldn't be searching for. Images start getting shared. It's gonna throw up a flag, and that flag starts out at NCMEC, National Center, right? Once these tips come in, again, they're the clearinghouse. They break it down and they look and they do their thing, dig into IP addresses and where is this taking place, and they narrow it down to Wisconsin. Well, now they send it to our Wisconsin Department of Justice in Madison. They are the commanders, the leaders of the Wisconsin task force. Right. So after that, then Madison will do a little digging. Agents, analysts will do a little more, and they'll go, oh, this occurred in Arcadia. Well, that's in Trempealeau County. Now they're going to send it up to us, to me, yep. And that's where we start. But every county in the state of Wisconsin is an affiliate. There is somebody in every county, every jurisdiction that is part of this task force. Okay. And so unlimited resources. They're nationwide, but even just locally. So yeah. Doesn't matter, Eau Claire, La Crosse, they're fantastic. And I work with them daily, weekly. This would not be possible without help. And that's the one thing too, you kind of learn when you start this training is, don't reinvent the wheel. Somebody else has done this, and it's kind of this niche of people all doing the same thing, connected to that same database, and we're all doing it kind of the same way and having the same resources. And
it's a load to take on, though. It
is. Well, that's
huge.
It is. And again, I had no idea what I was getting into. Yeah. I didn't, but it has become a full-time job. Yeah. I would say that, I am assigned as a general detective, but I would say probably 85% of my work is involving internet crimes. And that could be everything from, sextortion to possession of child pornography to the chatting that you see where adults are reaching out to these kids in these chat rooms and arranging to meet up. And so it is never ending. But I just wanted, I do have to give a shout out to the local surrounding agencies, La Crosse and Eau Claire, Holman, the DCI, Wisconsin Department of Justice. DCI, people may have heard, Department of Criminal Investigation. They have an Eau Claire office. They have agents that are assigned strictly to internet crimes, and they are very knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. But again, it takes an army, because I'm trying to be humble until I don't know any. They make my life easy, but it is a true we. So there are resources. There are so many people, and just pick up the phone. But the big thing I want to stress to the parents and to people is just simply, this is so common, and it doesn't matter, again, what life you come from, or you're a business owner, or you're whatever you are, and you're afraid of the image. This is happening to your kids, and we can help. And we're not here to make it a big deal. You have to reach out. It's not going to go away, and it's working.
So step one, have that conversation with your child. Go through it. Tell them, the pros and cons of the whole situation. Just educate, right. And or maybe step one is you as a parent, educate yourself. Educate yourself on what you want to talk to your children about, and then go to them and say, hey, you got 5 minutes, mm-hmm. and just go through it and say, here's the deal. And then, have the resources there that you can kind of touch base with them and just be like, here's the deal. And almost say, you will be contacted sometime.
100%.
If you haven't already, you will. Mm-hmm. And here's what it is. And this is how we can take care of it. If something happens, the lines of communication are here. And if it's not me, there's other resources, family, friends, whatever. But to just have that talk, I think, is probably a big...
You hit it on the head. Step one is acceptance that this has happened.
Yeah.
And then, yes, exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
Yeah.
Your perfect son or daughter, or imperfect son or daughter, but yes, accept they are being...
Yep.
If they have an electronic device, it does not matter what it is. And I'm not talking about just a phone. You think about everything that is connected to the internet. Your PlayStations, your Xboxes, your iPads, your computers, your Chromebooks, your phones, your VR headsets, anything that connects to the internet has opened that door.
Open. And the games, right. Like the games,
right?
Like we were talking about that before, but like the Roblox,
yep.
Maybe like COD, Call of Duty. I'm assuming now. I'm guessing it's all of them.
It is all of them.
It's open field for anyone. So anytime these kids are on there, and they're pulling up, you look at Roblox,
mm-hmm.
and before I do anything, I was like, what is this? And my kid's like, yeah, it's Roblox, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you look at it, it's like nothing crazy.
Right.
But that's a hub. That's a hub for like just filth, really, I think. I'm not saying all of it. I'm sure there's good people in there and whatever else, because, our kids are in there playing. And so, but there's predators, there's fucking snake in the grasses, snakes in that grass just waiting.
Well,
it's terrible.
If you were a predator, if you were a snake in the grass, where would you go to hunt?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. It makes sense. That's what I'm saying. Like
we're old men with gray hair and gray beards, right? But again, if I'm this predator, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
I'm going to Roblox. I'm going to create an account. I'm going to say I'm a 10-year-old boy or girl.
Yeah.
You're right. You've opened up the door. Where do you think I'm going hunting? Yeah. And it is. And that is, again, as parents, guilty myself. We've had a long day of work. You've been on the run. The world we're living in is go, go, go. From the morning you wake up to the second you get off work, and you're running kids to basketball and dance class and volleyball and here and here and here. And it's just go, go, go. And you've had a long day, and your kids are screaming and they're hungry and they're tired, and you need a 5-minute break. What do? You throw an iPad at them, or you give them a phone, and they sit there and they bury their nose, and you go, there's 10 minutes of peace and quiet. But you never once thought, what are they on?
Right.
I just had the conversation last night, and I've done a presentation. I do a lot of them. I have them that are geared towards kids. I have them that are geared towards adults. And recently we've kind of started speaking at teacher in services. Because at the end of the day,
great idea.
Teachers, educators, school staff are around our kids more than we are. They truly see. They know when something's up with our kids, and it's been effective. But even again, putting on this presentation and talking about the dangers, it's opened a lot of eyes. And I had the conversation last night with a teacher. It was just she caught her kid on Roblox, and she kind of freaked out, and then she had the conversation with him and just asked, have you been approached? Had somebody started chatting with you? And and thankfully this time wasn't bad. It wasn't a creep,
right.
But it was shocking for her to just like, oh my gosh, he's a wonderful kid. We had the talk, and yet, this kid didn't tell mom that he downloaded Roblox. And so again, do I expect that a parent can watch him 24/7? No, I don't. But as a parent too, what can we do? And just again, if having the talk, setting safety restrictions, checking phones. One of the main slides in my presentation is just simply that it's okay to be a parent, and it's your phone, it's your device, not theirs. We're guilty of it, like I said already.
Yeah.
we want to be friends with our kids, or we trust them so much. And, at the end of the day, this is your device. And you know what? I am going to check it. And I am going to look at it.
Yeah.
And even getting kind of that through your kid's head that, hey, at any time, mom or dad might check this. Hey, absolutely. Here, mom, there's nothing bad to see. Go ahead and look. We can get there. We can. We're not going to stop.
It's just communication, right? I mean, just daily, weekly, whatever it is. I mean, because that device, that's it. That's
the whole world at your fingertips.
It is. And if you take that away from them too, like, because we were talking about that too, like that device really is like their whole everything.
Well, it is
everything.
Well, again, when I said what would have happened, when we were young, we'd have been in trouble. Well, that's with these kids too.
Yeah.
If they do come to mom and dad and say, "Here, I accidentally sent this naked photo, mom," what's the first thing mom does or dad does is start screaming, yelling, "I'm taking your phone, and I'm taking your PlayStation, I'm taking your Xbox, and you're not getting it for a month." Why is a kid going to come forward when they know they're losing their lifeline? And again, we haven't thought about that,
And that's real. I mean, that's real stuff. Like they'll crash on that stuff. Like they'll, so, as a parent, like you got to play that game. Like you got to understand that that's super important to them, but not scare them, right? Like you kind of got to play that. Like let them know that this is why, this is the issue. We could discuss this and we could figure it out. We're not going to take that away, but still kind of like, the severity of it is real, and we're not going to take it away. I almost like that's interesting because that's kind of we talked about it before, and it's like that's a real thing. And if somebody takes that phone from them and they just they crash, it's, you don't want that, but you still want to understand like this is
right.
This is real shit, man. Like this is a real deal, and.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the questions I get all the time too is, well, what age can I give my kid a phone?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
There's no answer, right?
There really isn't, is there?
If your 16-year-old gets their driver's license today, do you buy them a Ferrari?
Yeah, right.
No, right?
No.
Well, why? Well, they're not ready for that. You know what I mean? They need to learn first. They need, you buy them a 20-year-old thing that as a parent is most likely probably going to get smashed up and destroyed and ruined, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with technology,
Yeah.
We're giving a kid a $1,800 iPhone with every capability on it and a camera that rivals the Hubble telescope, and we're just handing it to them. And I said, well, why are you buying them? Why are you giving them as the first thing, that advanced level of stuff? I'm not saying that kids are going to need a flip phone, but
can you find those still?
You can.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But, you see a lot of the stuff now on TikTok and online too of, more so maybe college kids, but it's kind of cool now to go back to those old Nokia
retro
phones. It is the retro.
The old candy bars.
Right. Yeah. But, again, I know I throw a lot of examples at you here or just a lot of these things. And it's really just kind of getting that brain spinning. It's shocking, in the presentation too. And again, I have to follow different guidelines and there's things I can and can't do. And obviously I would love to right here today do a live demonstration, but I have profiles online where I am a 13-year-old girl. I am on chat accounts. I have Roblox accounts. I have Instagrams. I'm a 13-year-old girl. I'm a 15-year-old boy. I have one that I'm a 42-year-old mother who's trying to pimp out my children.
Sure.
And you would be shocked. And again, I can't do live demonstrations because again, you can't control what's going to come in.
Right.
But when I attended that training, the first thing we had to do was obviously create a profile. And so again, we use an app that's free that your kids probably have. And it started with just a picture of me. And it was a legitimate photo. This is me, right? And within about a minute, 2 minutes, I was able to say, you know what, I don't want to be a old middle-aged man anymore. Change me into a 13-year-old girl. Boom. Become a few. I want blonde hair. I want a bigger nose. I change this, change this, change this. And within about 2 minutes, I was able to have blonde hair, black hair, glasses, not glasses, a boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, when I show that to these parents, right? And so where I'm going with that is our entire class created our profiles, and now we're going to start learning how to chat. And, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a challenge coin, very popular with the military, law enforcement, coins.
Yep.
That was our prize as a class. The instructor had a challenge coin on internet crimes against, and that was the contest. We're going live at noon, live chatting, and the first person that gets an inappropriate photo sent to them wins. And the whole class was sitting there waiting to go live, and the clock hit noon, and we all logged in. And the winner of the challenge coin was 31 seconds.
Holy shit.
An adult male, I was a 13-year-old girl, and all I did was log in, and it had a profile picture. I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything. And within 31 seconds, an adult male had sent a naked picture of his manhood directly to me as a direct message. And
wow.
And again, I've done the presentations where I've logged in, I've turned my laptop around, and we were live, and after 5 minutes, I turned the laptop around, and I couldn't show any images or messages, but there were 71 direct messages in 5 minutes. And that's just how quick it's happening.
That is
and
wild.
That's right here as I'm doing a presentation in Strum, a town of 1,500 people.
That's crazy. It's crazy, man.
And when people see that, it's just like, oh my gosh.
That is crazy.
So, again, it's not just, there are true creeps out there that are predators, and our kids are right in the middle of it, and we could go on forever.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
So I'm gonna say it again, and maybe I'll say it again and again and again. But it's communication.
Yeah.
It's communication. It's accepting. You said it. Accepting that this does happen on a very, very local level.
Yeah.
And understanding it, so the parents out there understand that this is real, and this happens every single stinking day, minute, second.
Yeah.
Like it happens all the time, and just to be right there. I mean, it's crazy, all the analogies that you put together and put it, the training and the driver's ed and all that stuff, and it's like, you just, until you like actually think about that as a parent, like you just don't. I mean, I feel bad because I'm guilty as sin on this, but over the last couple weeks for sure, I've done some research and just done some stuff,
and once you do, it kind of hooks you, and then all of a sudden, once you see it, you start realizing it, and then you start paying attention to things that you normally didn't. And actually, another one of the teachers made that comment. I gave this presentation to a teacher in service, and their minds were blown, like most of them are. It's like, holy cow, and I put a lot of this stuff up there. I put these are real files that we're finding on devices here in our county, and they're nasty. They are rated X. Yeah. They are horrible. But it opened up a lot of eyes. And then that same teacher had actually told me, she said the next day she walked into school, and in this school, students can have their phones at lunch break. And this was sixth graders. And she walked by the cafeteria at lunch break, and let's just say, there was 100 kids having lunch. And there were 2 students that didn't have phones yet in 6th grade. And she said you could hear a pin drop in the lunchroom, and every single kid had their phone in their hand and was just sitting here typing away. And the 2 students were, those were the only 2 that were having a conversation with each other. Wow. And I get it. Again, we've forced this on kids.
Yeah.
We've issued them these devices, right? But also try to kind of just think what it's maybe doing to them. You know what I mean? And it's okay. I want to get back. Kids got to be kids.
Yeah.
Go smash a mailbox. Go get in trouble. go be a kid.
I mean, that's almost kind of like, I feel, of course, I don't want anybody smashing mailboxes.
No, I'm not.
And you don't either. But it's like, that's the kind of stuff, like, you just want to go back to, like, just, okay, you're just doing random stuff, right. Even if even if it is bad, right. Like, it's just not on the internet, not plugged in. Like, it's so easy, and you're right. It's so everybody has it all the time. It's always rolling.
They're always connected.
They're always connected.
Right. And kids. I know that how old we sound right now, but again, it was like, when's the last time you saw a group of 6 kids just hanging out doing something? Never. You don't have to, because the second they come home, all they have to do is log in. They're connected 24/7. They're instant messaging. They're in group chats. They're FaceTiming. They are always connected. And again, I know we're not going to stop that, but it's okay to disconnect once in a while too. Go be a kid. It's a dangerous world. It really is. You talked about accepting it, talked about the resources. Again, me locally, we're doing these adult presentations, and we've been doing it here for a couple of years, and I think that's kind of been the hang up, and it's not just me. We've put them on our social media platforms. We're trying to get it out to the public. Hey, come and watch this. Come and pretty much get your eyes open. Yeah. Get an idea of what's happening, and we've kind of fallen into, how do you get people to show up? Like I said, life is busy for everyone. It is. And when we're doing these presentations on a Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30 at the local library, I've had it where 60 people showed up, and then we did it 3 weeks later, and one person showed up. And it's like, hey, we did it for one person. I have no problem doing that. But, it's not just here. We had the same up in Eau Claire. I was talking to a couple of those guys. I think we had like City of Eau Claire County, and Altoona did a joint thing too, trying to do the same type of thing. Yeah. And, they shared the heck out of it on all their platforms. They reach a lot of people up there. Of course. 6 parents showed up. And so that's kind of been this thing too, of how do you get people in the door? And once they see it, once they accept it, it opens eyes. And I do walk through parental settings, or I walk through maybe what to look for, or where to check on a device for maybe some hidden files or photos that your kids are probably hiding from you. And it is rewarding, because I'll give the presentation on a Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning I'll go to work and I'll have, emails from parents or that just said, hey, you weren't wrong. I was able to find some photos, or I went home and I had this talk and it worked. You do a great job on those, by the way. I appreciate it. I had multiple people tell me, I was telling them that you were coming on, and they're like, oh, he does a great job. And the whole presentation is just wild. Like, it's scary. It's informative, but it's a must-have. Like, it's a must. It's eye-opening. It is eye-opening, man. And I think that it is not my intention to shock somebody, but when we created the presentation, and I'm going back to the previous sheriff, Brett Semmingson, who got this ball rolling with me, and I appreciate him. We put the presentation together, and like I said, there's a few slides that are they're deep. Oh, they're intense. Yeah. And again, we're talking about going out into the public and how do we want to portray ourselves. Yeah. And like he kind of said too, let the public see what's really happening. Absolutely. Here. I think you have to. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I do give a warning during the presentation that it is for adults. Yeah. 18 plus, and there are a few things that you're going to see that might make you uncomfortable. And it does. There have been a few situations where somebody's had to get up and leave, and that's okay. And I tell them that. Yeah. But by the end, again, we've all sat through some sort of training or presentation. We last about 10 minutes, and we get our phone out, and we're bored, right? I'm fortunate enough that the presentations went well, and it's full engagement for about an hour and 15 minutes, and by the end, you got parents coming up going, I had no clue. I had no clue. It's a gut wrencher. It is. And so I would ask, please attend if you get the opportunity. Again, it's not just mine. They're Eau Claire, La Crosse, every agency around has something or somebody.
Yeah.
And please take the time to attend one. You will learn a few things, basic things. Again, I'm not throwing some wild technology thing at you that you go, I don't know.
Right.
This is simple.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of getting that first and kind of like you said, you took one podcast for you to go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I was sick to my stomach for like a week, man. Like I was just like, I can't believe that people do this. Yeah. Like this is unbelievable.
You would be, but again, it's these kids, man. It's different. I think when I talk to you too, you think about us or as parents, caregivers. We grew up and you said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor, or a lawyer, or a fireman, or a pilot, or anything, right? I spend a large majority of my time in schools talking to kids, interviewing kids, working cases, and when I talk to them too, it's like, well, what do you want to be? I want to be an influencer. They want large amounts of friends.
Yeah.
That's their status symbol. They're going to go to school tomorrow and say, look, I've got 1,000 Instagram followers. How many do you have? Well, I've only got 600. So when these random friend requests are coming in, they're not even thinking. It's just accept, because it's that status symbol. And so again, it's not even something that an adult or parent really even thinks about.
Right.
But that's the reality.
And yeah, no, I mean, you don't associate that with it. I mean, you just saying that just clicked on for me. I mean, that just it's like, yeah, of course. That's They want that. They want to click. They want the likes. They want the follows. They want all the stuff that they want to do. I mean, yeah.
And they're willing to share it to the world. They want it seen. So they don't set the privacy settings. They don't restrict who can see my content because they do think, I'm going to be the next Mr. Beast. And I'm going to make millions. And you know what? There are a few out there that do. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But it's kind of like every kid that said, I'm going to be in the NFL. There's a very, very small majority that make it. Yeah. No difference now with being an influencer, And so, I worked a case here just a couple weeks ago, a young kid involving, images sent online. And he was open, he was honest, and to make a long story short, when we got into the depths of it, he'd ended up sending over 4,400 naked images of himself all over the world. And when we started going through his friend list and we were starting to narrow this down, I mean, we're talking the world. I mean, Australia, Ireland, Italy, the United States. And it's just like, but again, to him, it was, trying to have this safety talk with him, and he wasn't having it. And it was, his goal was, I'm going to have this many followers, and absolutely I sent him, and I'm trying to be famous, and it's a lot of work to get those removed and to get them taken down, and but it's eye opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing those. So is there a good resource to find out on a local level where, I mean, is it all the sheriff's department to find these presentations?
Yeah. So
someone could attend those.
Yeah. Yep. We do them on a request basis. Again, I go back to Sheriff Brett Semmingson. He was a firm, a believer in this. Yeah. And when I talked with him, he said, if anyone reaches out, you go and do it. Here's your blessing. Go and do it. Yeah. Current Sheriff Erica Coxleen, she same attitude. She was a big part of starting all this too. She was doing the drug endangered children detective and was kind of the wingman, with all of the internet crime stuff. So she recently became the sheriff, and her attitude's been the same. We need to get this word out. So if anyone asks, go and do it. We try to put it on our sheriff's office Facebook page. We've done some local, local radio station, WHTL. We've contacted them. They've put some blurbs out. We've been on there a couple times. And then I would say if you are following your local police department too, we'll go into these other communities. The local police departments will put it on or whatever, We've done libraries and schools and churches and Lions clubs. So if you are following them, kind of pay attention on there. Or again, you can just reach out to. We do have one coming up. I believe it's Tuesday, February 24th. I think that's a Tuesday. That's going to be at the Independence State Bank. They have a little conference room there. Mm-hmm. That's the next one upcoming. And then I did have a couple emails this morning before I came in, some requests down in the southern portion of the county that are asking. So pay attention. If your business or organization is interested, please reach out. Like I said, we will make it work. They are about an hour and 15 minutes long. I know that sometimes that can be a little long, but kind of once you get going and the eyes start opening, quick, it does. And there's normally a lot of questions afterwards or comments, and so it's become successful. But it's part of why I'm here today, and what we're doing here is we're getting the word out. Yeah. And like I said, it takes an army. It's going to take every one of us.
It's going to take a lot.
It's not.
It's going to take a lot.
We're never going to stop it. We know that, but we can educate. We can open some eyes. And again, hopefully in a perfect world, it's just this becomes a normal conversation.
This might sound weird, but have you done like the TikToks on it? Like, I don't know how you could do it. You know, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, we're talking about that, but I'm saying for, you know, because they're plugged in. Everybody's plugged into that, and it's tough to, you know, maybe it's an eye opener to be like, hey, here's some stuff on those platforms.
Right.
I'm just throwing it out. I have no idea. Right.
We haven't. We have not explored that. At the end of the day, there's no excuses, because to me, it's become my passion. Yeah. It's as important as it gets, is the safety of our kids, but it also becomes a time resource as well. I mean, we're not just working internet crimes.
I know.
It's go. But we schedule around what we can, and again, if you reach out and say we want this, we will make it work. And
I'm excited to work with you. I mean, we're going to put something together here
I look forward
to
it.
I want to do it.
It's all about getting people in the door.
Yeah, I'm on board, man. I think if you invest that time for your kids, and even everybody's got their own thing, right? But I think the investment part of it, the education part for your children, and I look at all my kids, and their friends, and I talk with them all the time, and it's like, their parents do whatever their parents do. It's none of my business. I don't care. But if I have a chance to talk to them about stuff too, of course I get my dad's speech in there too. Absolutely. But I think all that stuff helps, and I've definitely been more educated, talking with you with some stuff, and doing the homework too, doing a little homework. I think as a parent, when you're sitting at home, you get done with work and you're like, oh, I just want to just sit and do nothing and scroll through. Maybe take 5 minutes and just be like, how does Roblox do this, or where are these hidden files on Snapchat? If you don't know, or whatever it is, and just type it in Gemini or Grok or whatever AI thing you're doing.
Right.
That seems to be a good resource to get instant stuff too, and then of course if you're visual, YouTube, and just maybe take the 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is, because all you're doing is scrolling. Mm-hmm. All you're doing is just running through, what's Sue doing this week, on whatever. But take the time, I think, just to look into all those, get yourself educated on it. Exactly. And because you never know, and if you don't have kids, you got grandkids or nieces or nephews, or or whatever it is. I feel like the list goes on.
Everybody's got somebody they care about.
Yeah, and I think it's education, and just take a couple minutes to just look it up or whatever it is. I know everybody gets busy. I know it's easy to just zone out and do it, but I think if you take the 5, 10, 20 minutes, man, just to figure something out, I don't know.
It doesn't take long.
It doesn't.
Start with that, and just start with your kids, man, and just please have the conversation.
Yeah.
Reach out. really reach out. There are so many things we can do, and it's becoming so common. I have a 20-minute presentation, and I started reaching out to these schools, and it's simply just sextortion. 20 minutes long, and we started with 6th through 12th grade. Because again, 13 years old is the most common age, right? And we did one here about a month ago, and that was the first one. Said, let's just talk to them. 20 minutes. This is what it looks like. This is exactly what it's going to sound like. This is how you're going to be approached. This is probably what it's going to say. And it was awesome. And I did it. And the next morning, actually, 3 students came forward that said they were actively being sextorted, and they didn't know who to talk to. And after seeing this, it was like, okay, they felt okay to come forward. One went to a parent, one went to the principal, and one went to a coach. And it was so cool. And so again, it's working. As a parent, even locally, you'll probably see an email coming home from these schools saying, as a school, we're going to be having this presentation. Some parents get a little, when they hear the word sextortion, maybe concerned, but please understand it is age appropriate, and it's only to help, and it works. So just pay attention for that, because we've kind of realized that the schools are the key. That's where we need to start. Yeah,
they're around the kids.
They are
more, and
they are,
and I think most of them probably respect their teachers or whoever it is, and man, that's wild. So, in close, I guess is there anything that you want to see going forward, like as a maybe in the department, or what you get to do as a whole? Like, is there anything that you're for the future?
Yeah,
it's got to be ever changing too.
It is, and that's just it. Like I said, just when we think we figured it out, again, technology,
right?
Just even look at AI. AI is it's awesome. It makes our lives easier, but no different than anything. You create it for a good, and you turn it into a bad. So, moving forward, I think our goal, obviously, when we think about everything that we do and the crimes that we're working, there's obviously some evidence that comes into this.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the biggest hang up, all in all, is just, these devices. If I go back to saying we have a true creep, and I arrested somebody and he was communicating, here's a 50-year-old man that was sending these types of images and communicating with 14-year-olds, and we caught him and we arrested him. And now I have his phone or his computer, and that's the evidence that we need. Having the resources to get that evidence, forensically, it's not like updating your iPhone where you just plug it in and up, what I mean?
Right.
There's a process to it, and that there's financial burdens that come with that. We're talking $25,000-$50,000 to get off the ground. That's not realistic to everybody. I get that. But what I think our goal would be is down the road, if to get a version of that where we would have the capabilities even here in Trempealeau County. You heard me kind of give a shout out to Holman Police Department. They have the ability to extract data from phones and computers, so we use them a lot. And then the same with up in Eau Claire. They have a regional computer lab for Eau Claire County. They've helped us out, but then also DCI through the Department of Justice. But you're talking about the backlog on this right now.
It's got to be.
This is blown up even in the last 5 years. Right now, if I took your phone and said this is evidence and I'm sending it off, we're talking 10 to 16 months.
Wow.
That phone is going to sit on a shelf in a queue to go next, and that's statewide. So that would be the goal for the future, is if we can get to there and get that capability locally to get that going. And again, a lot of the things we do is taxpayer dollars and donations and things like that. So maybe hopefully getting this word out, the right person sees it, and
let's do it.
Yeah, and it's the never-ending battle. But technology isn't changing. This isn't going away,
No,
and
it's not.
it's only getting bigger. So, before we started today, I peeked at my phone. Every month we get kind of a monthly update. When I was talking to you about those cyber tips,
Yeah,
that start out, you do something bad, it pops a tip. I went back. Our monthly average that they send to Wisconsin is right around that 1,400 to 1,700 cyber tips that are actually coming to Wisconsin every month. Right before we started, I peeked at my email, and in December, then there was 4,100 cyber tips came in December. I looked back to November, it was 1,700. December was 4,100.
Wow.
And got me thinking kind of why. But go back to what was in December, the holidays. And what did a lot of kids probably get for Christmas? Their first cell phone, or their first iPad, or their first electronic device.
Yeah.
And
wow.
to have a shift that big in a month, to me, was mind-blowing.
That's scary,
and
man.
It is. And this isn't just one little image being, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
It's like, holy cow. And the resources and time that go into those, it's a lot of work. But
man.
The numbers are, it's just exploding. And you can research it yourself. You can look it up. And when you see these graphs, the charts, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
So back to why we're here. Getting that word out, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm excited to work with you guys. Hopefully we can get something together, and I'd love to have you come in down the road again too with something, whatever. Maybe just touch on some new stuff down the road. Yeah. Who knows? But definitely appreciate you coming in today, man. That's I think the recap thing. I feel like we got to touch on it again. One more time. Just to kind of go through it. I mean, if you're a parent, maybe just recap, the steps real quick, like of what we can do as a parent or whatever to look for. Just
have the conversation, take the time, go through the device, check parental settings, see what kind of apps they're using, something very simple that you can do. Very simple. Go to your settings on your phone and go to the battery settings. All right? iPhone or Android, go into battery. And once you click into there, it's going to give a list and like a percentage of time of how that battery is being used. And you might see apps or devices or numbers there that you're going to go, what is that? Take that time to look into it. You know what I mean? For an adult, I'm guessing 80% of an adult's phone says Facebook, right?
Yeah, right?
Well, kids, you're seeing Instagram or you're seeing apps that you've never even heard of. You know what I mean? That's just something simple. That'll give you an idea of how that device is being used. And again, the presentation, we go through a few more things, but that is very simple.
Yeah.
And again, back to YouTube. How to set parental settings. How to check for this. It will walk you through it. And to kind of get that mindset as a parent of, I'm invading my child's privacy. This is your phone. This is your device. You gave them to them. You're responsible for it. And that's a good start.
Yeah, man.
I got into this job to be Chris Hansen Jr. I wanted to catch creeps, right? Yeah. But now, even over the last year and a half, unfortunately, a lot of these suspects, or a lot of my larger cases, the suspects have been 15, 16, and 17. And unfortunately, we've had we've made arrests on these young kids. And when I have the conversations with them, when you're interviewing and talking to them, it all started with just the same thing. I clicked on this, I clicked here, and I kept clicking, and I just went down a rabbit hole that I couldn't get out of. And again, this isn't just sending their girlfriend a naked image of themselves. They were deep into places they shouldn't have been. Do I think they're horrible kids? Were they the people that I'm trying to, the creeps that I talk about? Right. Absolutely not. They were good kids, great families. We don't want that. And it just started with one click. and they get wrapped into these websites, and they get approached by others that say, well, if you like that, here, click this. And it was the same conversation, a rabbit hole. And that always sticks with me. And it's devastating when those cases come in and you start doing the work and you realize, oh no, this is a 15-year-old. How did we get here?
Right.
And it's not enjoyable. I don't enjoy, having that conversation with the child or the parents, and the parents are always in shock and awe too. And it was just, I never knew. We never checked his device. He comes home from school and he just goes up to his room and that happens all the time. Every one of us. So again, it really isn't to scare, but it is. It's not these just 50-year-old men that are creeping the true, lives in mom's basement type deal.
Yeah,
it has shifted, and our caseload now has become younger and younger and younger, and they still have an ability to change or to realize, learned a lesson there.
Yeah.
And we can get away from that. So again, I know you asked recapping here, but yes, have the conversation, check those devices, truly reach out, take that time. It may be uncomfortable, but please accept that this is just the reality of what our kids are now exposed to daily. And we have put it in their hands. And maybe again,
we just gave it to them.
You need that license to drive, and you had to have hunter safety. Think about that. It's their license, Yeah. When the parents say, well, how old do you think my kid should be before I give them a phone? My answer is always the same. When they're ready. Yeah. Are they ready? Are they responsible? Ready for it? Do you feel you've taught your kid enough to trust them?
And are they ready to sit down and have that talk? And if they're ready to understand that, then here's the next step.
Yeah. Start small, trust, but I really want to get there.
Yeah.
At any time you should be able to grab your 13-year-old's phone because it's your phone.
Right.
And take a look. You're not invading their privacy. I promise you. You are. They may call you every name in the book, and they may hate you, and they may slam their door, and you're the worst person in the world, but I promise you, you are helping them.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to take every one of us.
It's going to suck.
It is.
You got to do it.
It is, but
you got to do it, man.
It's better than myself or someone just like me knocking on your door. And when they went down that rabbit hole, and that's what we're trying to prevent.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
If I never worked another one of these cases in my life, I'd be the happiest guy in the world. But again, that's not reality.
Yeah, that's not reality.
There could be 10 of me just on the local level, and we wouldn't even touch the tip of the iceberg. So this is every day, all day.
And really, I think a big part of what you do, and I think what you do is good, and I think hitting on the reality of everything that happens, and maybe not everything, maybe you can't do all of it, but just let them know, like, this is it, man. Mm-hmm. It's scary.
Yeah. I talked about those quick cyber tips, and like I said before, I looked at it here, and it comes like a big pie graph, and this month it was it's Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. And I can guarantee it, anybody that's listening to this, when they think about their kids, what apps are their kids commonly? It's going to be Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah,
and
that's
it. So pay attention.
That's Ross. It's been fun, man. I'd like that we can talk about this and get it out, and I'm looking forward to working with you with some other stuff too down the road.
Likewise.
And maybe we'll get you back on and talk about some of the other not so fun things, but I think you got to hear some of that stuff. So
maybe uncomfortable, but it's reality. I appreciate you.
It is. Well, thanks, man. Ross, it's awesome.
Thank you.
Can't wait, man.
Appreciate you.
Hopefully we get some turn here and everything's good.
There we go.
All right. Stay hungry, stay humble, right? That's what I like to say. Or just communicate, man. Communicate. Communicate.
Heartbeat steady like it's golden.